It began with a sound that felt completely out of place on that peaceful suburban street. The distant growl of Harley engines rolled through the afternoon like a storm warning. Heads turned. Curtains moved. People stopped what they were doing. Then they appeared. 4 bikers rode slowly down the road, their black leather vests marked with the famous Hell's Angels emblem. The deep rumble of their motorcycles echoed between the houses, making neighbors watch from a safe distance. Botkrents quickly called their children inside. Something about the moment felt different. But then, just as the engines filled the air, another sound emerged, a small voice, shaky, nervous, heartbreaking. "Sir, would you buy my bike?" The bikers immediately slowed down. At the edge of the sidewalk stood a tiny girl no older than 6 years old. Her blonde hair was slightly messy, her dress was clean, but her worn-out shoes told a different story. Next to her stood a small pink bicycle with a white basket. In her hands was a cardboard sign, "For sale." One of the bikers shut off his engine and stepped forward. The others followed behind him. His name was Ryder. Most people knew him by another name, Wolf, but beneath the tattoos, leather, and rough appearance was a man carrying years of pain. He knelt in front of the little girl. "My name is Mira," she whispered. The moment Ryder looked into her eyes, something felt wrong. Children weren't supposed to look that tired. They weren't supposed to carry that kind of sadness. In the distance, beneath a large tree, sat a thin woman wrapped in a blanket. She looked weak, pale, and barely able to stay upright. Ryder felt his chest tighten. Mira gripped the sign harder. "Please, sir," she said softly. "My mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." For a moment, nobody spoke. Even the other bikers stood silently. Then Ryder gently asked her what had happened. Between tears and broken sentences, Mira told the story. Her mother, Clara, had worked for a local catering company owned by a wealthy businessman named Mr. Hensley. Everyone in town admired him. He appeared in newspapers. He donated to charities. He smiled for cameras. People called him generous. But according to Mira, that image wasn't the whole truth. When the company reduced staff, Clara lost her job. She begged Hensley to let her stay just a few more weeks. She explained that she had a young daughter to support. She pleaded for help, but Hensley refused. According to Clara, he simply told her she could be replaced. After losing her job, everything started falling apart. The bills kept arriving, the refrigerator became empty, and Clara was too weak and ashamed to ask anyone for help. So Mira made a decision no child should ever have to make. She brought out her favorite possession, her pink bicycle, and she tried to sell it so her mother could eat. As Ryder listened, something inside him broke. Years of buried anger suddenly rushed to the surface. His brothers, Tank, Viper, and Mason, recognized that look immediately. They had seen it before. This wasn't simple sympathy, this was outrage. The kind that appears when innocent people suffer because of someone else's greed. Without hesitation, Ryder pulled out his wallet. He placed a thick stack of cash into Mira's tiny hands. The little girl stared in disbelief. "Keep your bike, kiddo," Ryder said quietly. Her eyes widened. But Ryder wasn't finished. There was no way he could simply ride away and pretend he never saw this. Not after what he had just heard. Not after seeing a little girl forced to sell her childhood to buy food. He asked Mira to stay with her mother. Then he promised he would return. Minutes later, the motorcycles roared back to life. The 4 bikers headed straight for Mr. Hensley's office. The building stood tall in the center of town. Glass walls, luxury furniture, everything about it screamed success. The bikers walked through the front entrance without saying a word. Their heavy boots echoed across the marble floor. Employees froze. The receptionist looked terrified. Through the glass walls of his office, Hensley noticed them approaching. The confident smile on his face quickly faded. "What is this about?" he demanded. Ryder calmly stepped forward. Then he placed Mira's for sale sign directly on the CEO's spotless desk. Silence filled the room. "That," Ryder said quietly, "is the price of your decisions." For the first time, Hensley looked uncomfortable. Ryder told him everything. About the hungry child, about Clara sitting beneath a tree, about a little girl willing to give away her most treasured possession just to feed her mother. Hensley tried defending himself. He talked about business, budgets, layoffs, company policies. But the excuses sounded empty, especially when faced with the truth. Ryder never raised his voice. He didn't threaten him. He didn't touch him. He simply looked him in the eye. "You can't buy forgiveness," Ryder said, "but you can still do the right thing." Something about those words hit harder than any threat ever could. And before the day ended, something unexpected happened. By sunset, news spread across town. Anonymous donations began appearing everywhere. Families received groceries. Single parents had medical bills paid. Former employees were offered their jobs back. People couldn't understand what had caused such a dramatic change. Most never found out. Only 4 bikers, 1 struggling mother, and a little girl with a pink bicycle knew the truth. Later that evening, Ryder and his brothers returned to the tree. The moment Mira saw them, she ran forward with a huge smile. For the first time all day, she looked like a child again. Clara was standing now, still weak, still recovering, but smiling, a real smile, the kind that appears when hope finally returns. Tears filled her eyes as she tried to thank them. Ryder simply nodded. "You don't owe us anything," he said. "Just promise me one thing." Clara looked at him. Never give up. That evening they shared bread together beneath the fading sunlight. The bikers, the mother, the little girl, and the pink bicycle that never had to be sold. Golden sunlight stretched across the grass, the motorcycles, and the folded cardboard sign resting safely in Mira's lap. For a brief moment, the world felt a little less broken, a little kinder, and maybe, just maybe, a little more hopeful. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. And before you go, tell us this. If you had been in Ryder's position, what would you have done? Because sometimes a single act of courage is all it takes to remind people that kindness still exists.